All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're heading to Kastoria in northern Greece to a place called the Dragon's Cave. And this is where things get really cool because it's where myth and science totally smash into each other. It all starts with one simple question. I mean, seriously, what if the myths were actually true? Think about it. You find this place, a dragon's lair, supposedly packed with treasure. But what if you found out there was a real, solid reason that story exists? That's what we're going to dig into. Okay, so at the very core of this whole legend, there's this really cryptic riddle. A voice supposedly whispers it from the darkness. He who bends to take a handful of mud will regret it, but he who does not will also regret it. Like, what does that even mean? It sounds like a total paradox, right? But believe me, cracking this riddle is the key to the whole mystery. All right, first things first. Before we get into all the science, we've got to understand the myth. Let's go back to the original story that gave this cave its epic name. So the story goes, this cave was basically a gold mine. The catch? It was guarded by this terrifying dragon. You know, breathing fire, poisonous fumes, the whole deal. The local king challenges a brave young guy to slay the beast, and somehow he pulls it off. He and his friends go inside with torches, and that's when they hear that weird riddle we just talked about. Some of them are just confused, they don't take anything. But others, they grab a handful of mud. And here's the kicker. When they walk back out into the sun, that mud in their hands has turned into pure gold dust. Crazy, right? That is an amazing story. But here's the thing. What if every single piece of that myth, the dragon's mouth, its toxic breath, even the treasure, is actually rooted in science? Let's peel back the layers and see what's really going on. Okay, so why the Dragon's Cave? Well, it's pretty simple, actually. You just have to look at the entrance. It's a natural rock formation that looks, no joke, like the giant open mouth of a monster. That right there, that's almost definitely where the whole legend kicked off. All right, but what about the fiery, poisonous breath? This is where it gets really interesting. The cave has this super weird microclimate inside. We're talking 90% humidity and really low oxygen. Now, imagine you're an ancient explorer. You walk in there with a torch. The air feels heavy, suffocating. And then, boof, your torch just goes out, plunged into total darkness. What would you think? You'd think monster, right? Poisonous breath? It's the perfect ancient explanation. And the cave has another mind-blowing secret. 7. It's home to 7 incredible underground freshwater lakes. This is the only cave in all of Greece that has this. It just adds to this totally magical, otherworldly vibe. Okay, so what about the treasure? The story says gold mine, right? Mud turning to gold. But the real treasure, wow, it's something else entirely. It's not gold. It's a natural masterpiece. Thousands of stalactites and stalagmites, slowly formed over 6 million years. That's the real hidden wealth of the cave. Okay, so we've got a scientific reason for the dragon's lair, for its poisonous breath, and for the treasure. But that leaves the big one, right? The elephant, or maybe the dragon in the room. What about the actual dragon? Could there be a real monster behind the myth? Well, meet Ursus spelaeus, the cave bear. This was a prehistoric giant that roamed Europe during the Ice Age. And here's the key detail that makes it our #1 suspect. Unlike the bears we have today, this guy used caves as its main home. And here it is, the big reveal. Myth versus reality. There was no dragon. But what scientists did find inside the cave were the bones of this thing, the cave bear. We're talking about an animal that stood almost 10 feet tall and weighed half a ton. Now put yourself in those ancient explorers' shoes. You're in a dark cave, you stumble on a skeleton that massive. You're not thinking bear, you're thinking dragon. For sure. Yep, the cave bear bones are the only monster they've ever found in there. And what's super fascinating is that while we know the bears lived there, archaeologists haven't found a single trace of ancient humans living inside. It was basically a perfect time capsule for both geology and paleontology. So this incredible place was full of secrets. How did it go from being pretty much lost to history to becoming the attraction it is today? Well, for hundreds of years, the cave was basically forgotten. The entrance got covered up by dirt and plants. It was totally hidden. It became just a local secret, something you'd only know about if you came at it from the lake. Then, in the 1940s, things started to change. A new road was built along the lake, which made the area way more accessible, and boom, it was rediscovered by some local explorers. By the 60s, scientists from the Greek Speleological Society were doing the first real mapping. But it took a while. The cave didn't officially open to you and me until December 2009, after a huge project funded by the EU got it ready. So, what's it actually like to visit today? To step into this place where millions of years of geology and thousands of years of myth all collide? Well, you can take a guided tour. It's about half an hour long, and it walks you through this whole incredible story. The ticket price is super reasonable, but that's not the most important part. The most important detail is this. They only let 12 people in at a time. And that's not just to make it a better tour for you. It's absolutely crucial. It's to protect the cave's super delicate ecosystem and let that unique low-oxygen atmosphere recover between groups. It ensures this legend can stick around for a long, long time. You know, the story of the Dragon's Cave is just such a great reminder that our ancestors weren't just making up silly stories. They were paying attention. They were using myth to explain a world that was both awe-inspiring and, frankly, a little terrifying. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other legends are just sitting out there, waiting for science to uncover the incredible truth that's been hiding in plain sight all along? Thanks for joining me on The Explainer.